Hey everyone, Jason here, aspiring entrepreneur and digital marketing consultant, and in this Facebook ads tutorial for Shopify, we're going to be walking through a simple 3-step process to help you run your Facebook ad campaigns properly, and that starts with structuring your campaigns properly. The reason why this is so important is because it ensures that you never waste a single dollar on your Facebook ad spend, because you never want to be looking at a campaign and asking yourself, what the heck do I test next? So this campaign structure is going to allow you to really zero in on the variables and the products that you should be focusing on, and will also allow you to stack your success, which means campaign 1 is going to contribute to the success of campaign 2, and so on and so forth. So make sure you check out the links in the description to other playlists to help you put together the rest of your Facebook campaign for your Shopify store, as well as some other helpful links to Google Tag Manager, which I'll get to in a second. So we're going to go ahead and kick things off with the 3 keys. Then at the end, we'll jump into my screen and I'll walk you through exactly what this looks like in real life in a live account. And the first key to success when it comes to running your Facebook ads for your Shopify store is making sure that you have the Facebook pixel installed. I mentioned there's a link to a Google Tag Manager tutorial in the description. Definitely go through that and make sure you have all of those tracking and analytics set up, because as you test all of your Facebook campaigns, you want the Facebook pixel in the background collecting all of that sweet data for you, so you can eventually create similar to customer remarketing lists and really turn on the Facebook ad scaling. The second key to success, before we jump into the 3 steps here and my screen, is starting with one campaign. It's really tempting to just jump into the Facebook ad interface and make a bunch of different ads and campaigns, but really you just want to start with one, because as you continue to test and as you continue to grow, things you're going to learn in campaign 1 are going to help make you more successful in campaign 2, 3, 4, and 5. And finally, when you're setting up your first 3 to 5 campaigns, is just be really patient. Spread your budget out over a week period, even if that means you're only spending like $2.50 or $5 a day. Just spread it out over a period. Give Facebook time to figure out your store, figure out your targeting, figure out where to serve your ads, and then go in and make changes and make another test. I see this way too often where people after 1 or 2 days just jump in because they think something's not working. You have to give it enough time to actually start working. So now let's go through those 3 steps and then we'll dive into my screen. So the first step to properly structuring your Facebook account is choosing one product. One product. So choose one product, one campaign. So I'm going to be walking through this diagram and we'll go through what all these different steps are and how to apply it to your account. Well, when we just start out, we always want one product for one campaign. And as you expand your campaigns and as you expand the number of products, what's really nice about doing this is in your Facebook reporting, when you're comparing different campaigns, you're comparing different products. It also keeps you extremely organized because all of the data for the performance of a particular product is always in one campaign, and it's really easy to compare product 1 and product 2 when campaign 1 and campaign 2 represent those 2 products. Second step to successfully running your Facebook ads and structuring your campaigns correctly is to choose one variable to test at a time. So we have one product per campaign, and inside that campaign, we're going to have 2 different ad groups testing one of these variables: targeting, placement, or messaging. I think I'm mixing up the order there. But targeting, placement, or messaging, those 3 are the ones that you're going to want to be testing. And so what you want to do is set up your ad groups so the ad groups are identical except for one element. And this is really key to making sure that you're successful with running your Shopify ads for Facebook and growing and scaling your Shopify ads for Facebook, is always testing one element at a time, because it gives you a definitive answer whether you're testing a placement, whether you're testing your ad messaging, whether you're testing an audience. It gives you a definitive, this is better than that, and then you can move on to the next one, right? Because chances are you probably have multiple audiences to test. There are multiple placements you can test. I actually recommend starting with placements. And of course, there's an endless supply of different image and copy and video combinations you can make for your ad. But what's really key here is you make sure you have one ad for one ad group, even if the variable that you're testing is messaging. And this is important for 2 reasons. Number 1, it gives you the maximum amount of control, because if you have more than one ad in an ad group, Facebook will rotate them to optimize for whatever your campaign goal is, and you don't want that. You want a definitive, this is better than that. And number 2, it makes it very easy to go back and see your tracking and split testing process. So when you have one ad for one ad group and each ad group represents a different split test, it's very easy to go into your campaign and all you have to do is go to the ad group level to see which variables are performing the most. If that's not making sense, when we dive into my screen, I promise it will. And the final step of this campaign structure and process is to make sure as you run your ads, so now that you've structured everything correctly, it's time to start running, you're going to be cycling through those variables. Because your campaign, your product, there's always going to be one product in your campaign. So your job in finding profitability and scaling your Facebook ads is testing those three variables over and over and over again. I highly recommend starting with placements, but once you figure out your placements, rotate between audience and messaging, because one of the things that's really, really hard in the beginning is when an ad isn't performing, you don't know if it's the wrong placement, you don't know if it's the wrong messaging, you don't know if it's the wrong audience. And so as you cycle through those three, you'll change your messaging, you'll find out which ad works the best. Then the next test, you're gonna try different targeting. Then you'll find out which targeting works the best. And then you're going to try a different placement. You're gonna find out which placement works the best. And then guess what? You're back to messaging. Now we're gonna try the messaging again, now that we know an audience that's working and a placement that's working. And then once you have your winning ad, guess what? You do that all over again. And it's just an endless cycle of optimization over and over and over again. And the good news is it never ends. And that is good news because there's always, always room for improvement. So what I want to do now is go ahead, we'll jump into my screen and I'll walk you through what this looks like in an actual ad account. So the first campaign I want to go through is the gloves traffic. So if you go in here, all of these ad groups are just specifically for one product on this particular client's Shopify store. So you can see bracelet market all, and this is something you can come up with your own naming convention. All of these are testing the exact same audience, and they all have the exact same ad. The only difference in between these three ad sets is where the ads are being shown. So we have an Instagram ad, we have a Facebook offer, and we have a Facebook mobile. Based upon this test, we're going to quickly figure out which one of these three work. I think Facebook mobile was the winner. So next what we would do is we would pause these top two, so they'd be done. That's the end of the test. And then the next test, we would duplicate this ad group, and then we would change either the targeting. So instead of targeting bracelet market all, we might target bracelet market version 2 or version 3, or we might change up the ad itself and say ad copy 1 or ad image 2. And so I'm going to go back to the campaigns and I'm going to go into the Steal series. And I like using this campaign because as you can see, we have the product name, we have the audience that it's being targeted, and then we have ad one, copy one. So what does this tell us? That's the first version of the ad, and the sales copy that's being used in the ad is the first version. So we would go through and split test this. Eventually we'd have ad number 2, ad number 3, copy 3, copy 4, copy 5. And you don't have to get super complicated with your names here. I'm just using this as an example to show you how you really want to be very granular and focused when it comes to testing your campaigns and making sure that you're labeling everything correctly so that it's very, very easy to see what's working and what's not. What's very nice about the screenshot here, like what you're looking at, is because there's only one ad in each ad group, anyone at the client's company can come in and see which ad is working and which targeting is working. There's no need to dive in, figure out the differences between the ads because each one of these represents a specific test, whether that test was placement, whether that test was targeting, or was messaging. In this particular instance, placements had already been tested, and this kind of leads me into that pro tip that I have for you. And that is that when you start with one campaign, so we started with the gloves, we found out that Facebook mobile was the best for this particular client. If we had run the gloves and Steal series at the same time, guess what? We would have to test Instagram, Facebook offer, and mobile all at the same time. Whereas because we did it one by one, we ran the first test with the gloves and we found out Facebook mobile works. So guess what? When we did the second one, the Steal series Eclipse, we didn't have to test the placement. Well, eventually we will in the future, but we knew from the first campaign, and this is what I like to call campaign control stacking, is because we tested placements in the first campaign, we knew Facebook mobile was going to be best. So in the second campaign we set up, we started immediately testing the targeting of the campaign as opposed to starting at square one with the placement. Now, of course, as we scale the Steal campaign, we would have gone back and tested the placements to make sure, but I just like to use this as an example to illustrate when you do one campaign, it's okay to take the successes from one and apply it to the next one to help make your new campaign that much more successful. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe, because over on the channel, I'm documenting the entire process of what it takes to build an online business from scratch, and marketing your Shopify store, of course, is just one small piece of the bigger picture of being successful with your digital marketing and bringing your business vision to life. So if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comment section below. I read and reply to every single one. There are comprehensive playlist links in the description as well to walk you through how to find your Facebook targeting, how to write your Facebook ads, how to actually go through the process of setting up the campaign step by step, as well as a complete tutorial on Google Tag Manager to make sure your Facebook pixel and your AdWords remarketing and of course your analytics is all set up and ready to go. So thank you again so much for watching, and as always, keep building the business you love. Take care.